Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. My name is Ace and I've got more Guild Wars 2 content here for you. This time I'm going to show you guys all the weapon skills that are available to the Mesmer. Mesmer being the rogue slash magic type caster. Possibly also a battle mage, but it kind of depends on how you look at it. And if you are just looking for a specific weapon, there should be time codes below in the description box that allows you to skip to the video or through the video to the point to where you can find a weapon that you want to explore. And make sure to check out the other links as well to keep in touch and stay up to date. But we'll start off with the dual wielding swords auto attack, which is pretty straightforward. Does decent damage, quite nice, and does have a chance to create illusions. On the third hit, I believe, I am not entirely sure, but it also causes some reliable vulnerability. And that is something you always want to have up, maybe from any class. As you can see right there, my illusion right there trying to do some damage to the target golem, but as you can see they don't do any kind of decent damage. It's 8 to 7 damage a hit. And illusions are used to be triggering, or they are used to trigger these abilities right here, F1 to F4. And they either just do damage or they have special, special penalties they can apply to the enemy, may it be distortion, daze, or confusion. And Mesmer are a completely unique class, I find, is that they are all around, they fight with their illusions, and there's some crazy stuff that they can do. And personally I really enjoy using the dual wield or a sword and a pistol, but it all comes down to what you personally prefer, because you also have a two-handed great sword that you can use, but you don't use it to hit people, you use it to shoot people. But we'll get there in a few seconds. Starting off with the second attack, which is of course Blurred Frenzy. Decent damage, but also allows you to evade, which is pretty awesome. Third attack is Illusionary Leap, which doesn't allow you to leap yourself, but allows you to create an illusion that will leap for you if you don't mess up the targeting system. For some reason my illusion was still there, but wasn't there. But as you can already tell, I create an illusion, it jumps to my target, causes cripple, and then it stays there trying to fight the enemy. So they can possibly follow up with, let's say, Cry of Frustration, so they are confused. But it's pretty much a ranged debuff skill, because it doesn't do a lot of damage, so you don't want to rely on that for that purpose, but it's nice to debuff. Illusionary Ripoffs, which is basically your counter attack. If you do counter, you can create an illusion. If you don't, you can prematurely end it and cast a Ether Ball which dazes. And of course Illusionary Swordsman, which is my favorite of the sword offhand. And you create this Illusionary Swordsman. It looks a little bit different than your normal illusions, because this one actually hurts. Doesn't attack that quickly, but can do up to 1 to 3k damage if it crits. And you don't really have to think about it. And that does count for an illusion, so you have to be careful of that. You can only have up to 3 illusions, as you can already tell by these little circles right there. And this pretty much is it for the dual wielding sword. And you also have to watch out that if you double tap, you will create an illusion as well. And you can pretty easily create constant illusions because of this, as well as using all your abilities and such. So that's quite nice. Let's move on to the greatsword, which is, like I said, a ranged weapon in this case, and not a melee attack weapon. As you can see, the auto attack is a range, and the farther you are away, the more damage you actually do. So we're gonna go some. As you can see, my illusions start to use range attacks as well, doing a little bit more damage than the other ones, because it does have 3 hits. Doesn't do too much damage initially, but it does allow you to have a hell of a lot of range on your hand. Mirror Blade, as you can see, you throw an Illusionary Greatsword, and it bounces between targets. And as you can see, you do have chances to create your illusions constantly. As you can see, it does decent damage, and if people are closer to each other, they will bounce as well. You can imagine how effective this can be from a very long distance. You have 1200 range on that, which is insane. Mind Step, which is a little bit of a visual nice, not as much visual, but the philosophy behind it is something I really like. Because you step your sword in the ground, and then it comes out at the enemy, which is quite nice. I'll show you guys one more time when the cooldown is over, because it's not really something you really can enjoy visually because it's really fast, but once you take a moment to look at it, it is very, very satisfying. There you go. Also causes vulnerability, which is kind of neat. Fantastical Berserker, as you can already see, this creates a illusion that is a berserker basically. Pretty straightforward, just attacks the enemy with an AoE-like ability, causing cripple as well. So definitely something you want to be setting to your enemy if you want to make them be slowed while they are chasing you, for example, or chasing other people. Alright, there we go. An Illusionary Wave, which is the ultimate, or let's say the last skill of your greatsword. And it's pretty straightforward, a shockwave type ability. There you go. It is a very large cone, and it has a decent knockback. Not a lot of damage, so this is your defensive ability for the greatsword that allows you to get some more distance between you and said enemy. Very nice. I would prefer to use dual wielding swords as well as the greatsword to find this combination of close combat as well as range combat, because not all situations allow you to be close or further away. But there are a lot of offense that we can consider. But we'll start off with the Scepter on the main hand, and focus on the offhand. That's always a good start, which is pretty straightforward to caster equipment that all other casters can do. Here, if you've got your Ether Bolt, you'll shoot an Ether Bolt. They also create clones on your third hit. As you can see, they don't do a lot of damage, they do 9 damage a hit. But you can then send them to your enemy, or make sure they explode right away. Kind of depends on which one you want to pull off. Illusionary Counter is basically a shield, which you can turn into a range attack once again, blinding your enemies. But also once you be able to, if you block with that actual attack, you gain another illusion that will shoot ether bolts to their face. Confusing images. As you can see, it's pretty much a straightforward beam, causing confusion. Quite a decent amount of stacks, lasts for a decent amount of time as well. As you can see, you can send your images directly to the enemy and blow them up. Temporal Curtain, which is pretty much a wall, but if you walk through it, you gain swiftness, which is kinda neat, and also cripples enemies. And of course, skill 5, which is the focus, the second skill for the focus. As you can already tell, it creates an Illusionary Warden, which does that. Which is very powerful, especially in AoE situations, if you can imagine. Considering if you are finding it to take too long, or it only does one attack, you can then blow it up with Mind Wreck, doing more AoE damage. So, kinda neat on the amount of combos that you can do, but you really have to think what you want to do, because there's a lot of stuff that you can do. There's a lot of options that you have available to yourself as a Mesmer. And I think that Mesmer is a higher skill cap class to be playing compared to, let's say, a warrior, for example. Not saying that either class is bad, absolutely not. I'm just saying that to get more benefit out of the Mesmer, you need a little bit more, I suppose, reaction skill and situational awareness. But then again, situational awareness is something you will always need. Moving on to the Torch on the offhand. As you can receive, the prestige allows you to stealth. And this is why I stated at the beginning that the Mesmer is very rogue-like, very thief-like. Because they have a lot of stealth-like abilities. Also for your allies. So that is kind of neat as well. But it also allows you to burn enemies. They apply some burning damage as well as blind them if they are close enough. And we'll do that right now. Oh, that's not what I was intending to do.
Defense, then offense.
You have to keep in mind that if you double tap, you create an illusion that will attack and put you into combat. There you go. They're blinded now. Nothing too special. As you can see, 3 seconds later, you explode, doing the burning damage. Moving to the second skill, which is Illusionary Mage. We create this mage, and then we'll blast his face off, as you can already tell. And they do cause confusion, and you gain retaliation yourself, as you can already tell. So pretty decent for support and pretty decent for some, mindless range damage. So not too bad. I would personally prefer in the Berserker, for example, but that requires you to have different weapons. So that is something to keep in mind. Let's blow him up. There we go. Moving on to this, one of my favorite offhands, which is the pistol, of course. And the pistol does give you two abilities. Illusionary Duelist, which is quite nice to look at, because it creates somebody with two pistols, unleashing a barrage, which is kind of awesome. So you can create illusions that are indeed a lot more powerful than your basic illusion, which makes sense, because otherwise you would have been terribly overpowered. And of course the trick shot, which allows you to, as you already saw, it bounces to other people, causing blindness and daze. And also has the chance to stun. At least the first shot is stunned, the second is dazed, and the third is blinded. So it's all kind of different types of debuffs that you want to be using in AoE situations, just to support your allies, because you know, having a pistol allows you to fight at ranged. Which only leaves us with, I believe, the underwater... No wait, we have one more two-handed weapon, which is a staff, which turns you pretty much into a proper caster. Starting off with, you know, the basic auto attack. And the basic auto attack, it gives random bonuses to yourself and allies, as well as random conditions to enemies. So quite nice, but not reliable if you are trying to stack something, as you can already tell. At the bottom right here as well, Aegis. Then suddenly it turns to something completely different. And bleeding effect, burning damage, vulnerability, it's all there. Of course you have phase retreat. Teleport away from your target, summoning a clone that casts Winds of Chaos. Looks a little bit like this. And that is pretty much it. Nothing too special, just a defensive ability to get out of your icky situation, if you like. Chaos Armor. Pretty much a defensive bubble. As you already can see, it gives you a random bonus, as well as giving the enemy no random debuffs, random conditions they are called. I keep messing that up. And also Chaos Storm, which is your AoE. And it's not really a powerful damage AoE, but it does create all kinds of, as you can see, all kinds of damage, debuffs, as well as fear. So it's very nice to basically a little bit of CC, as well as some very nice damage over time. And all kinds of nice debuffs that you can apply to your enemy, as well as gain them yourself. So that is very nice. This is pretty much it for the ground combat, the above water combat. So we are going to move to the underwater trial, which I do not have unlocked yet on this character apparently, which is strange, but it doesn't really matter, because it's a very short walk, because it's a very short island, and this is the Hall of Memories. I think it's called, yeah, it is called Hall of Memories, and it allows you to test anything like I'm showing you guys now. You are at level 80. It doesn't matter when you join, you will always be level 80. You will be given PvP gear, standard level 80 PvP gear, nothing too impressive, and you have all your basic utility slots enabled, as well as all your weapon skills enabled, and also a few elite spells, but I won't be covering those this time. You don't have any specific race elites enabled, so you have to keep that in mind. So for example, if you're playing a Norn, you constantly turn into a gigantic wolf, bear, raven or leopard hybrid. And yes, you can do it as a Norn, as one of the elite skills, which is obviously one of the reasons why I am a Norn. Then I can change to a wolf. Who doesn't like that? And I don't mean like a traditional wolf, I mean a werewolf. A proper werewolf. So that's it. Underwater combat. There are quite a big amount of bugs going on right now with the Mesmer and underwater combo, so I will try to do my best to keep you guys in the loop with every weapon skill available. Starting off with the Trident. Your auto attack is pretty straightforward, partially a heal, partially a damage ability, but also a debuff ability, causing confusion, which is kind of neat. Your second ability allows you to blind enemies, as well as, of course, doing some decent AoE damage right there for a fairly long distance. Your Spinning Revenge is basically your, as you can see right there, it's pretty much your ability that you can use when people are getting close to you. Nothing too out of the ordinary, but it does also allow you to gain or buff your allies that are close range to you with some retaliation. Illusionary Whaler. And as you can see, you create an illusion that should be going after your target and then causes some very decent bleeding stacks. Unfortunately, the illusionary clones that you can create that are supposed to be fighting underwater are currently bugged in this beta build. But it's pretty straightforward. They just go to your enemy, apply, set debuff, and call it a day. And of course you have Illusion of Drowning, which is your pretty standard CC underwater, I suppose. Creating that anchor, and you can already tell they sink quite fast, doing some decent damage as well. And this is pretty much it. While we are going to finish off this golem, we are going to get ready for the spear. And the spear has also got a bug with that illusion that you create. And this specific illusion caused bleeding damage with the Trident. Unfortunately, with the spear, it's a little bit more powerful. I'm under the impression it's supposed to be a little bit more powerful. Unfortunately, it's bugged, so I hope you guys don't mind that too much. But as you can see, pretty standard forward stabby attack. Feint Surge, as you can see, is your charge ability, which it looks very awesome. Does decent amount of damage as well, and if you bash directly into somebody, you can directly see do multiple hits of damage, which is kind of awesome. As you can see, this is the bugged ability, and it does do some decent damage while making sure that you illusion evades while delivering a flurry of attacks on your foes. So it's too bad that this doesn't work. As you can see, it does summon close to the enemy, it just doesn't follow up on what it is supposed to be doing, which is unfortunate. But we have more abilities to go through. Slipstream, which is very awesome, I find, allows you to create a wall in front of you, which then allows you to boost for quite some long time, swim fast while pushing enemies away. So it's definitely one of the better abilities to get out underwater, basically, or to get some space between you and said enemy. Very nice. And Vortex is, you can already expect what it does. Do some AoE damage while pulling everybody in, which then again allows you to AoE, or allows you to have more AoE damage going on from your allies or of yourself. So it's a little bit unfortunate that these skills are bugged underwater, the ones that create the illusions that are supposed to do significant amount of damage. I will make sure to make a ticket, or at least post a report on that. And if you have the same issues that I have right here in the beta, make sure to post them as well, so we can get them fixed, and perhaps in the future you will be able to see them, or otherwise properly experience them when you are going to play a Mesmer yourself. And this is pretty much it. Make sure to subscribe if you haven't, and I hope you guys are enjoying the beta, because I am, and I will catch you guys next time. Take care.